Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today at Answers from the Universe. Today we have an updated interview with Peter the Insider, who is going to provide more very, very important information, what is currently happening in the world, and related to information that was retrieved through the ACIO. So, hello, Peter. How are you today?
Hello. Considering all the crazy circumstances, good. Thank you for asking.
Okay, so Peter, we're going to do a 2-hour show today, and I want you to, just feel free to bring in all the information that you think is important for people to know about, and we can begin with whichever topic you'd like.
Yes, I think that most important stuff is happening right now in Canada, because there is 44 summit of G7. They are like they are like themselves, they called themselves seven, I don't know, like most powerful, or I don't know, richest countries in the world. It's kind of complicated at these days, especially. And the most, at least from my point of view, most interesting thing what is happening right now in Canada, in Quebec, at least from my point of view, is the fact that as a guard, I mean, company or security company there is, let you guess, FAC, what means Federal Army of Canada. We talked about it with you, Jessica, few times, so I don't know, do you want to add something or ask something about this organization? Because it's, at least from my point of view, it's really weird that kind of authorities from all around the world, they clearly know, they clearly see that it's a weird army, weird organization on Canadian soil, and they have no goddamn problem with that they are guarding them. So if you have any questions regarding this, feel free to ask.
Well, what I remember from what you said last time is that this army just essentially showed up. No one knows the origin or where it came from. It was not on any records related to Canada to have such an army. This army was not, mentioned any time before in history. So they just sort of showed up, and it was a large population that was there. And even you said that there was some video footage of a tracker or someone that, was usually out in the wilderness hunting or doing something like that. And shocked to see that there was some fences and some other things that were guarding this specific area that was, suddenly off limits, where it was usually open for the public to, travel through.
Yes, so, you are right, but it wasn't the crazy stuff. Is that it wasn't on Canadian land? It was in inland inside of Alaska, and there are like six areas, if you want to call it that way. They are like, I don't know, like, military areas, and no one knows what the heck is going on up there.
Right.
We only know the thing what we know for sure, that many androids. They are definitely not the smartphones with Android operating system, but the robots, they look exactly like humans, but they are not humans, they are machines. For your information, that they are coming out practically like, like instant, like hours for hours and hours, 24/7, non-stop. And now this FAC, Federal Army of Canada, have it was like 1 or 2 weeks ago. They have 3.5 million of members. What's just, by the way, 10% of Canadian inhabitants. Now they have more than 4.5 million of members.
Most of them are there in Alaska.
Yes, you are right.
Population, but they, like as we mentioned earlier, they're androids, so they're not requiring the necessities of existence like humans do. So they don't require all the food and resources and water. I imagine all the basic needs that humans need to exist. Since they're somewhat of a robotic form, but they look very human. So one would say, how could they sustain this large population? Well, they don't require anything, and then they can work probably around the clock, I imagine.
Yes, but the stuff is that they don't require even electric energy because they can provide for themselves. They are technically
do you know how they do that?
Yes, that's like perpetuum mobile. Do you know what I mean? Like they have recuperation. They are doing something, and via doing something, the electric energy is produced, and the batteries are recharging for themselves.
Wow.
Something like that. Something.
Can they like materialize? That. Can they go into dimensional space, or are they just they go in and out of dimensional space? So they really. Okay, so we're getting back into the conversation. We just had a few technical problems during the interview. So, Peter, as you were saying, just to review a bit, you were talking about the Federal Army of Canada and how it's in Alaska. We were talking about these android beings and how they can, they don't require a whole lot. They have their own batteries that they can have a recovery. It seems like, they're very useful as far as a military standpoint, that they can do all these different things. But my question to you we had difficulty with our connection at the time. My question was, can these androids step in and out of dimension? For example,
yes, they can. Okay. And I just for your info, these technical difficulties wasn't, how can I say that, some random stuff, because I saw on my screen a terminal. What is I am using the Linux for, because I don't want to talk about it too much, but I am using Linux, and weird as commands stand out on the terminal. So these androids, and I think that I know who is very pissed off at us, and they don't want to talk about this.
Right. And why is it if we know and they and the public knows, how does this affect them? Because they're going to do what they want to do anyhow.
Yes, but they will be compromised. That's it. I mean, the cover blown. Do you know what I mean?
Are people seeing them going in and out of dimension? Because that was the information that I was kind of picking up. Is it?
Yes, people are able to see that because they are these crazy airplanes. Nobody saw never ever, and they look like UFOs, but they are not UFOs actually, because they are from, how can I say that, this, it was in Project Camelot, when I am not mistaken, this 20 years jump, because this very recently released video game, Detroit Became Human. It is set in 2038, so it's like 20 years in the future. Do you know what I mean? So they can make jumps.
Right.
It it wasn't set. I mean, the whole story wasn't set 20 years forwards just by some accident. Do you know what I mean? They are very clever. They perfectly know what they are doing. It's crazy.
Well, we talked about it briefly that on project you just brought up Project Camelot, that something came up and I was getting some intuitive information. They said something about Aaron McCullum, and I thought I'd go back and look at one of the videos, and there he was talking in an interview of Project Camelot, where he discussed synthetic beings being there, and something related to Atlantis, and it was interesting because it's similar type of beings that are present here. So maybe there was a jump there. It was about 8 years ago, I believe.
Yes, they can do that because year 2032, but I mean in 2030, and the ones you mentioned, it was 8 years ago, so it was 2010. So you know these 20-year cycles, they are definitely working, at least for them. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and so then that means that they're interfering with our history, our future, and the mastermind behind it is Mobius. Is that correct, or is it more than Mobius?
Yes, it's Mobius. They like to play with stuff, and they don't know. At least from my point of view, they don't know what they are doing. I mean, it's like you know, some sort of toy for kids. They don't know what they can cause. I mean, do you know what I mean? They don't know the all the consequences, respectively possible consequences.
Right, and yeah. This is the hard part, is that they're playing with stuff, and they're not really, they're causing problems and not being responsible for it at all. So Mobius, let's explain where Mobius was based in the UK for a while. I don't know when they got founded.
No, you are not right for a while. Technically, they have origin in UK. They are, I don't know, like more than 100. Give me a sec. We have now. Yes, so they are 170 years old, a company. Okay. And in time, do you know what I mean? They specialized to steam. I mean, do you know, locomotives and all kind of stuff? Do you know what I mean?
Wow, so steampunk.
Yeah, I mean, in first place, it was like in 1980s. I don't know, like 1980. 1924, 1926, something like that. And they then but they never did anything of this directly. They have their own children companies. So, for example, they did the stuff with cars. I'm talking about Noble, you know, MG and all kind of stuff in UK. Bentley, Rolls-Royce, when it was one company. I mean, two. They made the two brands, but in one company and all kind of stuff. And now they are doing into you know, like what, computer stuff, mind control. They were technically like partners for US in help me, MKUltra and all kind of this crazy bullshit. I mean, it's not bullshit, but for me it's bullshit. Of course, it was during Cold War, but you know, MKUltra was officially closed in mid 80s, but it's still going on after more than 30 years. So No one wants to talk about that.
There's a lot of subjects, I imagine, that are still roaming around that are part of the MKUltra program that could be triggered.
Yes, you are right, especially the especially the Disney project. It's absolutely crazy because children are very easy to manipulate, and they are most receivable. Do you know what I mean? They can everything.
Yes.
They can see and hear everything. Problem is, adults don't believe children, and children are not able to. Can I say that? How they are not able to express, to describe what they are seeing or hearing so precisely. So it's no one believes children.
Yeah, well, so you were explaining that Mobius, which is, I didn't know this, that they started at the turn of the century in 1900s. So you're saying that they're involved with some of the industrial revolution, maybe
yes, it was in 1800s. It was like early 1800s. It was like as I told 1824, 1826, something like that.
And that's the time when some of the really wealthy families started to come up.
Yep.
This is when they got all their money, right? They started getting involved with utilities and railroad and the Carnegies, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers.
Yes, you are right.
Yes,
you are absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Are they working directly? Mobius was were they part of this whole conglomerate, this whole group?
Yes, of course, because everybody we want to be everybody who wants to be respectively wanted to be how can I say that, not only wealthy but powerful. They need to be involved respectively in some sort of business relation, in some sort of business relationship with Mobius. You can't do anything without Mobius at these times.
Now, how does Monarch work with? Do they work with them, or do they work independent of them?
No, they in some sort of stuff they are cooperating with them, and in another stuff, in another cases, they are independent, but the most know-how they get they get it from Mobius. I'm talking about Monarch. Yes, MSL. So it is like Monarch Security Limited. Monarch Solutions Limited. My bad. Sorry.
And then there's also CyberLife.
Yes, of course. They are doing another crazy stuff. I mean, I don't know what the heck should I think about all this stuff.
So CyberLife, did they come out in the 1800s as well?
No. They are doing their own stuff since it was like when in late 40s, early 50s. I mean 1950s, because it's like when first computers showed up.
Okay, so were they involved with this IBM? And they talk about this AI, like
yes,
personality
IBM,
Watson?
Yes, IBM IBM company is much, and their branches are much older as CyberLife, but CyberLife was because they believed that they can do whatever they want. I mean, how can I say that? They call it network for parallel installations network for parallel installations directing or something like that. I'm not so sure. So they want to make some football. They call it football. So it will be like one small case, and they want to do. It is not football. It's not about like nuke bombs and something like that. They want to make some sort of full automatic cities and all kind of stuff in early 50s, you know. And because of that, they found cyberlife. This is it.
When you say full automatic cities, you mean that they wanted
cities, I mean cities, towns, cities.
So that you mean that like they would, through computers, set up how they wanted the system to run within a city, or is that what you're talking about? When you said networks, the football.
Yes, it's something like it is something like these intelligent houses, refrigerators, I don't know, TVs, everything. It's like IoT, so it's like Internet of Things, respectively, Industry 4.0, something like that. That technically only very few people will be needed, and everything else will take care of. The machines will take care of.
Automated, yeah, automated, like in Fallout, where they have everything kind of gets nuked, and then they have this automation of these computers, assistants that are.
Yes, you were right.
Out.
You were right.
Yeah. That Fallout, by the way, is a video game for those that are not know what we're talking about.
Yes, it was like Fallout 4 or something like that, or 5. Yeah. I don't know, but yes, you are absolutely right. Yes.
Okay, so I'm starting to get a hang of this, Peter. So we'll just keep on going, and this is a really excellent background to understand how long that these corporations have been involved. People think that they just started. Now, this is news to me that it started that much earlier, but we know that the time travel in the whole concept of time travel is, you think a lot about the steampunk era, which is in the 1800s, and it's very popular, the story of. Yeah.
Yes, because it was like, how can I say, out of nothing, out of nowhere, there was steam power, and they at least they believed, respectively, they used to believe that it has, limitless, endless,
possibilities or uses.
Possibilities, abilities to how to use it. It was crazy at these times.
They came up with all the new technologies, the vehicles. Of course, the computers came later, but the telephone and different ways of communicating. All of this stuff came up right in the 1800s. And people started photography, filmmaking.
Yes, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely
everything came in right around that time because they had access to the future, right? And they could.
Yes. Technically, all the things they still matter to these days. Except TV and IT technology, what came out in 20th century, except these two things, came up in 19th century. Yes, you are right.
Yeah, and then people like Tesla, who had a lot of knowledge of some of it, brought in a lot of the not necessarily weaponry, but that also was converted into his original thoughts, where then they always want to interpret and take any kind of invention and use it for weaponry. That's the first thing the government seemed to do. But for his idea was free energy, right? So he came in right around that same period as well, you know, coming in with new ideas that were very, very much advanced for that current time period. So was he involved with any of these, with Mobius or any of these programs?
Technically, yes, but how can I say that, against his will, because it was in one day, respectively one night, when he was making some calculations, and this diary, it was stolen, and we were able to make a copy of it, and he was able to write about the robbery in his house, when many of his it was like a letter, but a huge letter. It was like, I don't know, like A2 or something like that, and he had there his calculations and you know, like models and all kind of stuff, and it was stolen. And just a few months after that, he saw these army concepts flying on the you know, on the sky. So, you know, unwillingly.
Right. And well, I think that's what happens is they find someone that's quite brilliant and is able to like incorporate ideas or has a connection to you know, higher knowledge, or even maybe incarnated here remembering some things that, you know, from another dimensional space or something. So he came in bringing these ideas, and so then he becomes a target for those that are power hungry and wanting to take those ideas and use them for their own purpose.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
So where should we go from here in the conversation, Peter? Because I want you to be able to get out all the current information that's
okay,
really
important. So I don't know. I just forget all the topics because there was few of them. So
I got the topic. So we talked about the Quebec summit, and with the Federal Army of Canada, and also something regarding the usage of HARP to create a flood from that area in the Alaska University Research Program, and how you said the HARP is not necessarily a weapon, but has been used. You also said something about the University of Fairbanks and the scientific research project.
Yes. So the stuff, there are three, how can I say that, coincidentally looking events, and they are definitely not a coincidence. First one, Prince Harry is since his marriage in Canada. I'm talking about the original one, not his clone who is in UK and all kind of this can I say that, soap opera sweetheart stories. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. The real one is in Canada, and he's directing this whole operation. They call it Operation Flower. I don't know why it's such a weird cover name, Flower, but okay, screw that. And what is this operation about? Nobody knows. We only know that they are using this very weird ass-looking army trucks you mentioned, that they are doing this perimeter. And what is this doing the perimeter? It is like they are completely deleting, erasing everything. Nothing left. I'm talking nothing like nothing. No buildings, no living beings, including flowers. I mean fauna, flora, nothing. Including no soil, nothing. It's just some random as we don't know what. So they are building this respectively. They are trying how it will look. This base of perimeter for we don't know what. They did it like 4 or 5 times, something like that, during their movement from from eastern to western coast. I mean Canadian coast, right? This is it, and why he is here? I'm talking about Prince Harry. It's not complicated to figure it out because he's involved in this operation. So, Federal Army of Canada, at least we in ACIO believe, is some sort of very highly confidential armed organization. Let you name it as you want, of UK maybe, we don't know. I mean GB, we don't know. I mean United Kingdom, we don't know. Maybe yes, maybe not. It doesn't matter. These military areas, test sites, they are in Alaskan inland. We was able to make some espionage photos, and there are very highly, very technologically advanced factories. They are building some sort of airplanes and carriers. Military boats. And believe it or not, but these airplanes can carry these carriers and just put them into the water. I don't know how is it possible, but I saw it on my own eyes on the video. But it's it's okay, not a problem. Of course, for me, it's absolutely crazy, but for them, just another normal day at work.
Yeah. Their abilities, kind of could boggle anyone's mind. Some of the stuff is just amazing, and not necessarily in a good way.
Yes, amazing, but in the worst way you can imagine, as I like to say, worst case scenario of worst case scenarios. Yeah.
So technically, Prince Harry is not in England. He's in Canada, the real one, the true soul of Prince Harry. And then we also said that Meghan Markle has been replaced already.
Yes.
We don't know by who.
Yes, you're right.
And pregnant with 2 twins, from what the news is saying.
Yes, you are right.
And any idea who the new replacement is? Or anything that you can talk about?
The stuff is that you believe that she's pregnant with twins?
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Who they?
The news. The news is saying that. The mainstream news in the U.S.
They will definitely be not humans.
Okay. Yeah. Is it still tall whites, Nordics, that she's connected to, or is it another species?
Another species too, but definitely the tall whites, respectively Nordics, are what? They are, most involved ones. Definitely yes.
And so she is another Nordic. but it's just a different personality. Is that what you're saying? Or
No, you don't get it. We talked about it a few times before, that she's reverse Nordic. I mean, like,
yeah.
typical Nordics are high, pale skin, tall, pale skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, red heads, and green eyes. So she's, like opposite.
So, all right. So let's get back into what's going on then.
Yes. So the next stuff we talked about in last few days was what is going on in Middle Europe and technically all around the world, right?
Yeah, well, regarding this area where they brought in this army of androids, they're doing some things, and one of the things that they're doing is regarding, you said, scalar and something that is affecting the Czech and Slovak area.
Yes,
so
the stuff is that there were heavy floods in Czech and Slovak Republic in last few days, and they ordered it. I'm talking about Czech and Slovak governments because. Okay, let's start from beginning because first thing first. Officially, it's HARP is a research project from what's like the university name? Help me.
The University of Fairbanks, or
yes,
University.
Yes, University of Fairbanks. It's official. The real stuff is that they are the people who are operating these weapons, they are taking orders from US DoD, Department of Defense. So the Americans will do this experiment anyway, but screw that, because Slovak and Czech governments, they were up to do some crazy stuff to their people. So try to guess. They wanna make poisoned floods. So they called to American people, to American DoD, and asked them, "Hey fellas, can you give us some hand with that?" And they were, "What are you talking about? Give us some poisoned floods." And they did that. So what happened? They made huge amounts of clouds. With what? Of course, via HARP. And what happened after that? Immediately these clouds appeared, especially on southwestern Slovakia, respectively Western Slovakia, Moravia, what is part of Czech Republic. Try to guess what happened. American cargos, I'm talking about, these airplanes, started from heavily guarded airports, what I'm talking about, and they started to spray all the heavily poisoned chemtrails to these clouds, and the rain was extremely toxic. But people in Czech and Slovak Republic, they have no goddamn clue what was raining to them. This is crazy, believe me.
So there's all sorts of exposure that they've been subjected to because of this. And go ahead.
Yes, you are absolutely right. But the stuff is that people, I think that it's something very similar as in Canada, that authorities from all around the world have absolutely, they are perfectly okay. It's fine that the army no one knows about before are guarding them, is guarding them, and it's something very similar to that, because there are many soldiers in the streets in Slovakia and in Czech Republic, and they are like, it's just the military drill. This is crazy. And there are 4, maybe 5 times more soldiers than officially Slovak army have in their duty. It's impossible. in Czech Republic, something similar like that is impossible, and people are perfectly fine with that. There are tanks and the military cars, all around besides the roads. It's not a problem. Technically DODs in all around the Middle Eastern Europe, Czech, Slovak, Poland, Hungary, they are taking it over, and people are perfectly fine with that. So what the heck should we do once people are okay with that?
Peter, what is going on in the Czech and Slovak Republic that these things are happening? Why are they being targeted, and what is going on? What are they trying to stop or manipulate?
Of course, it's Monarch and Umbrella, because they know that it's their last singing song, in this area. So this is it.
Is it because of the, you're taking down Monarch or taking away, kind of rescuing some of the kids that were abducted there? I mean, you're actually making an impact with Monarch, and they're retaliating, or is this something more?
Technically, yes. But I don't want to say we did that, because they did that. I mean, they helped us too in many things. So, and they are pissed off at it, of course. But they will do it anyway, because they wanna move. They wanna move from this region 2 years ago already. They wanna do it, but it wasn't time yet. At least from what we read from their notes. So they are doing it now.
So they're leaving, but before they leave, they want to make some people suffer on the way out.
I don't want to say suffer. They want to make another war, as for example, Arabic Spring, as they love to call it.
Wow. All right. So who? What would the war consist of? Like, who were the parties that they were trying to create a war with? The fighting against each other. How would that work?
There will be the ones who strongly hesitate to accept migrants from Africa and the Middle East, and the ones who wanna tolerate, respectively, who wanna get to them to get to this region,
And so ones
they are not like, how can I say that, like ethnical. It will be not ethnical civil war or political civil war or something like that, but ideological civil war. That it will doesn't matter if you are, I don't know, like poor, if you are rich, or if you vote this or that political party. Not like that. Only these two poles, if you want to call it that way.
I think I understand. So when you say Anyhow,
Ideological, yes,
ideological.
ideological war between they who refuse to have migrants in this region and the one who will accept the migrants in this region.
So the ones who accept immigrants will not have a problem, but those that don't accept it will have a problem. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
Of course, and they will fight with each other and during this time they will fight. The migrants will get if they like it or not. That's the problem. And once they will go in there, the ones who I don't want to say who wanna there, but who will like I don't care about it. This side they will be convinced that it's not a good idea to have a lot of them because I don't know, like 95% of them will be okay, but maybe 98, but these 2, 3, maybe 5% of them will be crazy doing another terrorist attack, and everything will be messed up. I don't want to say it happened. It will happen, but it's high probability that something like that can happen once people. How can I say that? Once people will not open their eyes in this region.
Right. Well, I know that in Europe, in certain parts of Europe, there have been influx of different, people coming from other countries, war-torn countries, and I know that there have been problems. There's like in Sweden, I guess there's a lot of accounts of rape and some violence because the people are still in like that military mode of thinking, and they're bringing that energy in.
Yes, you are absolutely right. This is it what I was talking about. Absolutely, yeah.
Because I was wondering, I have been talking to friends in Europe, and they're talking about how there's been this influx of refugees, and the U.S. is always taking in refugees from everywhere, all over the world. I mean, it's been going on as far as I can remember as a child.
Yes, refugees. I don't want to say refugees because the problem is why I am talking about them as about migrants, because many of them, I don't know, like 70-80% of them are not refugees.
They're just from poverty countries, or
yes, because refugees will be like from when ongoing war is or something like that, but they are migrating for better life and all kind of stuff. And I don't want to say it's bad. I have no goddamn problem if you are Muslim, if you are Hebrew or something like that. I don't give a shit about it. I need to say it that way. But once you are okay, it's okay. But once you are doing crazy stuff with bombs and knives and machetes,
yeah,
this is it what I'm talking about. This is it what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Which someone just gave me a report of, because they live in South Africa, and they said that something's going on over there because people, young kids in particular, are pulling up, street lights and doing some really crazy stuff over there.
I need to end this story in Slovak and Czech Republic. So the floods. I mean, when there was heavy rain. And it caused floods, and the water was extremely toxic. And it wasn't toxic in a normal way, if you want to call it that way. So, toxical, toxical, I don't know, particles or something. But it is what? Affecting the brain in the way that people are extremely aggressive. So the attacks in the center, for example, in the center of our, I mean, of Slovak capital city, when people came extremely aggressive for no particular reason. So this is it what I'm talking about, that they wanna cause rage for no, between people, I mean random people, for no particular reason. This is it.
But it's through the chemicals.
Yes, because of chemicals inside. I mean, because very weird ass chemtrails we never saw. I mean, we in ACIO.
All right, so this is you talked about how this android military is actually looking to destroy all the natural things, and are these toxins that are coming through the flooding? Is this going to cause people to die? I mean, are they? Is it?
No, I don't want to say that. Definitely not. It will affect. It will affect their behavior and thinking and behavior.
Okay, but not their health as much.
No, thinking and behavior, and that's way much more tricky. Do you know what I mean? Because once they did it old school, do you know what I mean? Like all guns blazing. You know, it will be way too obvious. But this is not like that.
Okay, so it's subtle, but so then you can't really link the two. You don't really. You think that the people are just acting that way, but you don't recognize that it had to do with this chemical.
Yes, you're right.
So now we're gonna. I don't know if you're finished with this topic because it goes into the volcanic stuff that's going on. If you want to wait and finish.
Yes, we definitely will finish this topic with this. For example, in Guatemala, but in you know, many different regions all around the world, the volcanoes are awakening, and the lava is very, very highly toxical. And we were like, how can be lava intoxicated? It's impossible. Lava has so high temperature, but it is how it is.
And you said, yeah, because most things would die out. Any type of, you know, a lot of the chemicals can't be sustained in that high temperature. But whatever composition that they put together is literally poisoning the lava. And you said it was a very high measured radioactivity.
Not only radioactivity, everything, practically everything bad you can imagine. Lead, zinc, I don't know what it was, like arsenicum, you know, everything, practically everything.
And as far as going, you said it was affecting the high level of sulfur and affecting the corals.
Yes,
in the water.
Of course. Everything will die out.
So it will kill everything in the oceans around it. And this has happened in Hawaii too. Then is the same thing.
Yep, you are right.
And I don't know. Maybe you know of some other locations around the world that are also having volcanic activity.
Not only volcanic activity, it was they call it Red Death. Red Death in help me, in SAR, South African Republic. It was the desert storm with sand, and afterwards, immediately afterwards, just few hours afterwards, heavy rain. I mean heavy red rain, and it was extremely toxical, and it happened like, I don't know, 4 or 5 maybe days ago, maybe 1 week ago, something like that. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was in South African Republic, in Namibia, Botswana, you know, these around states, you know.
Okay, so would that affect the people like
Of
you're
course,
making
of
them
course, of
crazy.
course.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that's what I was bringing up earlier about how the people were being affected and doing some crazy things over there. So it was from this Red Death that came down.
Yeah.
All right, and so and that is when you measure all the chemical elements that are in the lava, or the one that was put over the Czechoslovak Republic, and also in Africa, is it all pretty much the same composition of toxic chemicals, or are they different in each occasion?
Sorry, once again.
So in all those different areas, is it the same type of chemical that's being used, or is it different?
No, you are not right.
Okay.
There are always different, I don't know, you like
Combinations.
combinations. Yep.
Yeah, of elements. Okay.
Yes.
So this is very complex.
Yes.
And as you said, that probably the ultimate is to kill off things. Well, why would they want to kill off everything? What do they plan on doing if everyone's
I
gone?
don't know. I don't know. That's that's a mystery, big mystery for us.
One of the things that the androids talk about, and we still haven't figured out, is this RA9 that you mentioned.
I don't know. It's like what? Ra 9? Maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe yes, maybe not.
You
We
said it's
don't
a
know.
small r. It's a small r, a.
Yes,
Was
but
it
we don't
capital
know.
A?
We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, so that's something that you're waiting to find out more information on.
Yes, absolutely right.
So
Absolutely.
trying to see what regarding you also mentioned something about, and I don't know if you finished with this topic. Should we move on?
Yes, but very, very crazy is that once they were legitimated in Australia, because it's definitely not a coincidence that both of them were crossing the Australian border. I mean, technically flying to Australia, that they crossed the identity again. That it was Cara Delevingne, but not with C, as this model actress and all kind of stuff, and now it's Chloe Sandman, because once it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago we talked about them. They were switched. So this is crazy.
All right, so Chloe Sandman and Cara Delevingne with a K, which is not necessarily the actress, but same name.
Yeah.
They've been switched. Those two personalities have been switched.
No. Just the surnames. Just the surnames.
Oh, just the surnames, and so that means something to you, right? When they change their surname, what does it mean?
Yes, definitely yes, but technically, Kara is running. She's CEO of Mobius, and Chloe, she's at least these androids. She's CEO of CyberLife.
Yes, and they're both working together, but they're also are present in other throughout the world in different ways, right? They kind of show up in different places, and they're doing different things.
Yes, you are right.
And so
they can pretend they can have feelings. I mean, emotions.
But they're essentially androids?
Yeah, so technically they can't have feelings.
So if they're running it, then who is the mastermind behind some of these? I mean, we know like Paul Serene is over Monarch.
Yeah, but he's only like, man in the shadow, man between the curtain.
Oh, okay. But so then there's someone else beyond Paul Serene.
Yes, you are right. You are
And
absolutely right.
but do you know who they are, or is something you can talk about or you can't talk about?
I don't know because technically, once again, I'm talking about Mobius and Cyberlife, not about MSL. I mean
Okay.
Monarch.
Right. Well, all
But
right.
we but
So
we saw but we saw on one very expensive restaurant on the in the Sydney downtown, four of them meeting. I mean, I'm talking about Kara, Chloe, help me, Serene, and the fourth one. He was the guy. He looked so familiar for us. He looked like Hugh Jackman, but we don't know his name. It was so
wow.
weird. And they were talking about the stuff uh, because they showed some video footages, some pictures, and all kind of stuff because we have people inside. I mean, inside the restaurant as a personal, and it was so weird, very weird.
Wow. So this is the first time that someone that looks like Hugh Jackman has come through, but
But it wasn't Hugh Jackman, definitely.
no,
It,
no.
he just looks like.
Looks like him. Yeah, that's what. Well, it is kind of weird, and then there's someone that looks like them and they're very powerful, and then they're a celebrity, it's kind of very strange. People probably are like, well, you're just bashing these celebrities. No, we're not. I mean, these are actual, those that are in charge of some of these corporations, but yet they have someone that looks like them as a
Yeah, but
celebrity.
but this is it because it's the best cover ever. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
You
yeah,
can
and everyone loves
you,
them.
you can yes you can do practically whatever you like because it's like
Yeah, you're a celebrity, so essentially celebrities are almost like worship like our, present day gods. They get away with a lot. They worship to some degree, on the silver screen, and people see them above the law in a lot of different ways, and they get away with stuff that, the average person doesn't, and then they have this huge income as well, that they're able to have a lot of freedom. But it's not an accident that they're in, they have this power, but that there's someone that looks like them or whatever. I don't know how it works or whether there's clones and all this other stuff, but it's the first time you ever mentioned someone that looked like Hugh Jackman before, to me at least.
yes, you are absolutely right. We never
So
saw
this is new.
someone like yeah, you are right.
Yeah. So there's other things going on behind the scenes, and I mentioned to you, I just the other night I had a dream with positive it was Paul Serene was trying to talk to me and get me to
Yes,
go along with something.
because it's because like that it's like that because these corporations and the entities behind them who believe that they have big balls enough to do practically whatever they want suddenly figured out that it's not so easy to be on top of everything for forever.
Well, my concern is that when you're dreaming is that, they convince you to sign something or agree to something. I mean, on a universal level, is any of that valid? I always wondered because people have contacted me before about, things happening in their dream space, and I've actually had someone try to make me sign a contract of something once before when I was in a dream. Um, is any of that stuff valid? Because it's not, you're not
Yes,
fully
it is
aware.
valid. It is valid.
Right. That's what I was afraid of. So, in my dream, I did not consent to what they wanted me to do. So I imagine I'm not on their good side right now.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah. What types of things do they do when people don't go along with them?
Sorry, once again?
What do they do to people that don't go along with their agendas?
Try to guess.
Well, they can take a person out, or they can just make them, suffer through struggles and other challenges that, since they can get into the systems very easily and travel through time or whatever. So I imagine they can do a lot of things.
Yes, you are right.
Yeah, that explains my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do they try to I'm sure they try to manipulate you or others. I mean, I'm sure they know that they can't, but get you to let you know that they want to do something and they're going to do it. Does that happen to you, Peter, or that they come in and come into your reality?
What do you mean? Sorry, I mean,
like you say, some of them show up. Some of them show up around you and they try to convince you to do certain things because they're trying to manipulate things, aren't they?
Yes, but they don't want to convince. They want to, how can I say that, face me? I mean, face me and have a combat.
Oh, okay. So you have to deal with them just randomly showing up.
Oh, definitely not randomly, believe me.
Yeah. Well, it's not planned. You don't know when they're going to show up. They just sort of show up, right?
Yeah, and they did what they tried to do.
Yeah, it's a very, very dangerous situation for you to be in.
Yes, for example, Chloe, who, whatever she's called by second name, it doesn't matter. She showed in my house, and she was very pissed off at me because she wasn't able to kill real Chloe. I'm talking about Android Chloe, you know. And that was so crazy. And my girlfriend showed up, and she did what she can with this electromagnetic field, and I don't know do you know what I like that? And Android Chloe starts to hissing like angry cat, like something like that. It was so weird.
Wow.
And as she how can I say that? As she showed up randomly, then bam, she was away, like nothing.
So the hissing noise, you said was it cat-like sound or?
Yeah, something like that. Isn't this crazy?
Yeah, it's just very weird. Very, very weird. So, where do we go from here? Well, we have this other thing that you said just recently came up is a mushroom clouds that came up just hours ago in China, Mongolian area, Kazakhstan.
Yeah. Technically, all the Asian Midland. It's so weird. People have no goddamn clue what the heck is going on because technically they looked like mushroom clouds from H-bomb. I mean hydrogen bomb explosions, and they appeared out of nowhere, and they are on atmosphere. They are not connected to the ground. It's so crazy.
So it's almost like there was an explosion, but you can't find the source of it. It just sort of the end result of it appeared.
Yeah, but do you know what's crazy? The crazy stuff is that there is no radioactivity, no fallout.
Do you have any idea you can't really guess, but do you have any knowledge on who might have been doing this? Is it an experiment, do you think, or is it a fear tactic?
What? Sorry?
Do you think this is, they're literally trying to perform an experiment and then this is what showed up afterwards? Or do you think that it's to intimidate?
This is respectively, this was what? Like, it's a result of experiment, but we don't know which kind of experiment. And just by the way, the reason, because we need to talk about this experiment, how can I say that? This stuff, why it's just a little bit complicated, so we need to start like from very very basis, like first things first. About these mushrooms, what, like clouds. Why Trump leave 44th G7 summit earlier? Because he had the question if it should if it can be G7 plus 1, so G7 plus Russia. They told him, of course, it can't be. So he left the summit and he landed in Singapore. Not a problem. But why the summit, Trump plus Kim, was even able to happen? Because North Korean and Chinese intelligence agencies warned that on U.S. soil in Midwest, these large wastelands, I am talking about this trio, Monarch, Umbrella, Mobius. They are building, I don't want to say they are building, they are starting these huge reactors, and because they took over this all the military underground bases, so they was able to jeopardize this mission. First things. Second thing, North Korea start to have some sort of business with another parts of the world, because they signed an agreement that North Korea will stop to making and selling drugs, because it was technically one of their main source of, because there were these negative entities. They are calling them how can I let, they were like deep mans. So nobody knows about deep mans. They help me, deep mans. They are small. They are like from 60 to 90 centimeters, so like 2 to 3 feet high, and they can incarnate to whatever they want, and they are doing crazy stuff to all around the world. Just by the way, because of them started the Vietnam War, war in Gulf, Gulf War, and all kind of the stuff.
What are they,
so
Peter? How do you spell that?
Deep man, deep as a deep, when something is
D-E-P?
Yes, D-E-E-P, deep, and man as man as male, right?
So these are male humans, 2 to 3 feet tall.
No, I don't want male and female, but they are simply small, but they can incarnate to every single human race, and they can be, it's not a problem for them to be small, I mean short, tall, something like that.
So they're a species.
We are calling them, yes, they are.
They're a species that I mean, I think the ancient Mayans were said to be that tall, about 2-3 feet tall. Is that them? Also?
You are not right. You are not right. Ancient Mayans. That's the reason, respectively, that was the reason why they, why they crashed as civilization, because they worshipped the bad ones.
Okay.
Do you understand? So technically, that's the second part of the story. And third part of the story, these experiments, they started to above US and inside. I'm talking about like in down in, do you know what I mean, under the US soil. They and they was able, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Peter.
Yes, I'm here. So once again, I was talking about that that deep men's, sorry for that, deep men's, were hunted down to Africa, and they will be completely hunted away from the whole planet, and they will technically went just from themselves, because they don't like our planet as they should. It's because they there is no resources for them.
Where are they originally from, Peter?
From seventh dimension. Why are you asking?
Oh, I didn't know if they were from like a planet, or there was specific. The species is called deep men, or that's what the ACIO calls them.
No, they are calling themselves deep men, because
Okay.
they are coming from deep. I don't know what is deep.
And but they work with any specific species, or they're helping anyone, or they just have their own agendas?
Yes, they have their own agenda, but we don't know which kind of agenda it is.
But then anytime that there's a problem, they come in and they...
Yes, it's only what we know for sure, it's negative agenda.
And so is there already a problem there, or did they create the problem? Do you know if they...
They created problems always.
And then other species come in as well, so they might, in some ways, maybe collaborating with others, or not?
Yes, you are absolutely right. Something like that.
Who are the other species that they collaborate with at times?
Especially Nordics.
Okay, so but they're coming from the seventh
and
dimension.
Nordics and help me, reptilians, and lizards. They are similar, but they are not the same one.
Okay. So all right. So and we brought this up because of I think we were discussing Trump and Kim Jong-un and the G7.
Yes, you are right.
So they were somehow are creating problems while they're trying to have negotiations, or is there something else that we need to understand about this?
No, there is not. They are not negotiations. They are making deals about the presence of ETs. I mean, talking about extraterrestrials, because Why is technically the problem? Why North Korea is so isolated? People were starving there and all kind of stuff because most North Koreans are not people. They are ETs.
ETs from where?
From
Are they Nordics as well?
all around the galaxy.
And why are they being mistreated then? Who's mistreating them?
Because they are because they are bad ones. It's very easy.
Oh, I see. And so they were kind of, are they stuck there in North Korea, and are they being asked to leave, or what's going on?
No, it's something like what it is like. It is something like prison on Earth for them.
Oh, okay.
What they
Yeah,
what
I
they
can see that.
for them what did bad things.
So they weren't supposed to be here, and then because they came here and were causing problems, then they got trapped there.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah. Will they be sent away, or what's going to happen to them eventually?
Yes, they will be sent to Saturn.
Saturn, yeah, which is the regular prison. Some of them originally from Saturn?
No,
And no? Okay. Do we have any more from Saturn, any escapees from Saturn here that they're looking for, or
no,
is it?
they are not escaped from Saturn. You are not right. No.
Not these ones. Are there
were,
others?
They were here because they did what they did, and that's end of story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I was asking if there are any prisoners from Saturn that got out and are here on the planet, just others.
Yes, something like that.
Is all right. So I didn't know if you had any more information on that. I was just curious.
They did what they did, you know.
Yeah, and so with the discussion between Trump and Kim Jong-un about what's going on, what are they in agreement on anything?
Yes, it is that they want UK want to send what? To send their prisoners to North Korea, and it's like it's not a problem.
Oh, all right. And what about, is the US doing the same thing?
No, once again, the US will send their prisoners to North Korea. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
This is it.
And the UK.
No, in the UK, in US, from US to North Korea.
And I said, and the UK, you said earlier.
Sorry for that.
Yeah. So, and anything else that might have been the some part of the discussions?
Yes, of course. These technologies no one's know about. For example, Russia have, China have, North Korea have. They don't know. Nobody knows how this kind of this kind of technology just appeared just of nowhere, out of nowhere, and they are not able to do nothing with that. And they give it for example from North Korea to Russia to China, even to US, and they are not able to work anyhow with it too.
Because they don't know what the technology does, or they're not familiar with it?
Yes. Nothing like that. They don't have now goddamn clue. For example, it's a weapon. Like it looks like a normal pistol, handgun. These sort of entities, I'm talking about ETs, they can shoot with from it, and once you get into the hand, you have no goddamn clue how to shoot with that. You know, you can pull the trigger, nothing happened.
Who are the ETs that had it? Where does the technology come from?
Some sort of weird ass hybrids we never heard about yet, at least.
Do they have a name?
No.
Do they look like reptoids or in
No,
any
no,
other
they are all of them are look like humans, but it's only like shapeshift.
Right. So they hide.
Isn't this crazy?
I've heard of people seeing like plasma type of beings. You know, they sort of just look, and I've seen them before too. They just look like plasma, and then they take on a form of looking human, like an outline of them, but they shapeshift.
Yeah.
Is that sort of what they're like, or am I wrong?
Yeah, you were right.
So, well, the deep men are also something interesting. That how many years have they been around? I mean, have they been around for like thousands of years on the planet, or is this more like in the past couple hundred years, or?
Yeah, you are right. This is crazy. They are, I don't know, very sorry for that. I don't know how many tens or thousands of years. That's crazy.
Well, the reason why I brought up the Mayans is because there was historical accounts that the Mayans were very short. And
yes, you are right. You are right.
So I thought, are they deep men or not? And you said they were not. Is that correct? Because it was breaking up when we were talking. I couldn't fully hear you.
No, the deep Mayans, ancient Mayans, worship them as
gods.
As gods. Yes, you are right.
Because of their abilities and things that they could do.
And they didn't realize that they are bad at all.
Right. Well, I mean, most humans wouldn't understand fully, would they? They just see someone with abilities and assume that they were, coming from the stars somewhere and were there to help. And we're very naive.
Yeah, but they made them believe because they have, abilities to convince people.
Are they involved with the sacrifices that went on in South America? I mean, they did a lot of blood sacrifices of humans.
Yes, this was the first, how can I say that? This you mentioned right now was the bad sign in the first place, at least from my point of view.
Right, as soon as they're requested to kill another living being to sacrifice for their sake. I mean, I don't know what they gained out of it. What would they gain from a blood sacrifice? Yeah,
you are right. They gain the power of the souls.
Soul?
Yep, yeah. Not of souls, because there were many souls. Many people were killed during the history.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense, and so they're manipulated in that way. Were there other societies that had to deal with the deep men like that you're aware of in history?
Technically, almost every societies, but most of them they were smart enough to realize very soon that they are bad ones.
Do you think that the deep men are still influencing some of these other cultures that, as they did in the past, like in South America?
Definitely yes. At least I think yes.
Yeah, I think so too. So Peter, we're coming down to, we're getting close to the end of the interview, and as usual, some fantastic information. And when I say fantastic, some of it, even though it's upsetting, but it's informative.
But
it's
what
highly
should we
informative.
tell me what should we do? Should we tell people some random as bullshit if I can say it that way, or even it's how can I say that, if info it's not optimistic, or should we tell people the truth? Because I don't like random as bullshit. No, I definitely don't like it.
Right. I think people, people who really want to get information, they're going to get information from all different sources. We have no reason to, I just want to provide the information. I don't have any bias. And I know that, Peter, you and I, neither one of us feel like I don't have time to lie and make up stuff. I just want to provide the information, and there are those that are going to be open, listen to what's being said, and if some will agree, or if conflicts with someone else's teachings, we're not here to compete with anyone. We're just here to provide the information. So those that want to hear it, it's here.
Yes, and that's the problem for many people, that I am not talking, because many people complained to me directly. I'm talking about my friends, but I'm talking like about random people from the internet and all kind of stuff, that we're not talking about the hot recent stuff everyone else is talking about. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? I am not here to copy that, to copy, like these stories. I'm here to talk about my stuff,
Right, the stuff information that the ACIO is collecting, and that's why I'm speaking to you, is because you're an authority in this area, and people have their partiality or whatever, but they think that if everyone's saying it, then it's accurate, because one listens to another on YouTube, and then they're all kind of agreeing. They decide to agree, and it looks like they're all saying the same thing when people think it's true. Whereas if you're saying something that's different, immediately people, are hesitant, because their favorite, person that they listen to doesn't necessarily bring up the same information. But
yes, you are absolutely right. This is some next level shit.
Yeah, it's new information. It's coming directly from the source. So,
yeah.
And people can have their comments, but I will say that you're welcome to go elsewhere if you refuse to be open-minded to it, and that's fine. But don't think that you can come on and make negative comments and compare what we're saying to what someone else teaches. You're welcome to go elsewhere, but I'm not giving you an open forum to be critical. Either you're interested in the information, or you can go elsewhere for your information. But Peter and I don't have time to tell stories. We'd rather just tell the knowledge that we have, and that's it.
That's it. People don't like it because it's different from, another sort of information, and this is it. I don't care if people like it or not. I'm here to tell my story, and this is it. Bye bye.
We're here to inform, and it's not common that you're going to get information directly from an organization that does private investigations like this and research. So we're fortunate to get this information, but that's why it's very new and very unique in content.
Yes, this is it, and I wanna do. I mean, I wanna talk about this stuff publicly. So I know that it's only pre-recorded interview, but I want to be here on this like audio footage that I don't want to mention the names because I don't want to get into some conflict or something, but most of these also called whistleblowers have I don't know, like 3-4 months old information as the most fresh one. I have the 2, 3, maybe weeks, maybe 1 month as oldest one. This is it. And people, that's the reason why people hate me. I mean, from this whistleblower community, because it's very clearly that I don't want to say they are jealous. I don't want to say that is that way, but they simply don't like it because and for example, because this is it. I never did it. I am not doing it, and I will never do something like that. I will never do something like to pay attention for any, like for any reason, something like that. No. And the stuff is that a good friend of mine, just by the way, from Canada, she told me that some whistleblowers talked about very recently, talked about a few topics I was talking publicly 2 years ago. 2 years.
You've been talking about this stuff that the whistleblowers are starting to talk about, and you've been talking about this since I've known you. That you're always way ahead of everything. And then people will come to realize and understand later that the information has to sink in a little bit. We understand that there's a bit of I won't say a learning curve, but a little bit of an open-mindedness that this is new information, and that if you need the test of time, look at some of the archives of the shows that I've had where Peter's been talking about different things for quite a while now. And that's why when there are people that predict stuff that it doesn't happen, it's not coming true. And then there are people that talk about stuff happening and you see evidence of it later, and Peter's one of them. So that's the reason why I continue doing it. If I don't believe in the source of information, I won't waste my time. And that's what the one thing that people do know about me. I want to hear the truth. And no one's 100% perfect, but I will say that there's I know that Peter has not lied to me, and I don't operate in lies, and I don't have time for playing competition and games and all this other stuff. It's not about any of that, and it's not about trying to get attention. I just want to put the information out if people appreciate it and they want to know what's going on. The latest information is right here.
Yes, because many people they wanna draw attention for any sort of price, and they are, how can I say that, acting it. Do you know what I mean? Like an actors or actresses, or actresses. It doesn't matter. So I don't like this kind of way. I'm just very straightforward and doing what should I do.
Right. And like I said, you guys have access to intel in ways that others don't. It's probably sometimes third, fourth, or fifth generation of contact. So they don't have a direct contact, and they're not necessarily an insider or directly dealing with those that have knowledge of certain things. Some of them are, most of them are not. Most of them are hearing it like second, third generation of communication. So this is coming direct from one source, and that's the ACIO.
Yeah,
That's the
this
difference.
is yes, this is it. But it's in one hand, it's very good, but on the other hand, it's extremely complicated to how can I say that, to talk about it publicly, not because it's forbidden or something like that, but it's extremely hard to comprehend, even for me, what the heck is going on out there. And once it is complicated to me to get it, how should I talk about it publicly once I don't want to tell bullshits to people? Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Well, because you guys, sometimes it's so new that you're getting the information, like with the China, Mongolian, Kazakhstan mushroom cloud event.
Yes,
That's so new, you haven't even had a time to really investigate what
to
the origin of
analyze,
that. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, because this is so recent even that it happened. I don't know, like 6, maybe 7 hours. I mean, it happened some previous time, but it's like from we got this info 2 or 3 hours after it happened, and this info was fresh. I mean, 6 hours old when we start to record this interview. So it happened like, I don't know, 8, maybe 9 hours before we started to record this interview. So it's very complicated to even get what the heck is going on there. What's the puzzle piece? Where should this puzzle piece belongs to? Do you know what I mean? So I'm giving you extremely fresh stuff. This is it.
And I appreciate it, and I know that there are many others that appreciate that we can get up to date information. So we're going to continue doing this going forward. And Peter, you're welcome to come and share at any time that you want. And we will continue doing Answers from the Universe, having it available on YouTube at my YouTube site, Jessica Ariel Morocco. That's Arael. And you will find all of the information and the interviews under Answers from the Universe show. We do have an Andronicus Transmissions that is now separate, so you can see that there's a difference in the content, and has. But these are direct interviews with Peter the Insider. So, Peter, is there any last words?
I think that we are pretty much okay for this week. So thank you very much for being my host,
Thank you, Peter. And we will see you next week.
Thank you very much.